What defines the essence of atheism? The question is often met with a brisk, "I don't believe in deities," yet this response masks a profound complexity. Atheism is not a singular rejection, but a vibrant spectrum of perspectives, shaped by reason, experience, ethical reflection, and intellectual courage. Far from a monolithic stance, it encompasses diverse ways of grappling with existence in a world without divine oversight. This discussion explores four distinct types of atheism: rational skeptic, disenchanted former believer, defiant ethicist, and autonomous visionary, each revealing unique motivations and implications. By delving into these, we uncover not only what atheism is, but what it aspires to be: a pursuit of truth unencumbered by dogma. The rational skeptic represents the most straightforward form of atheism, unequivocally asserting that no deity exists. This perspective dismisses notions of celestial realms, divine architects, or predetermined cosmic purposes, viewing the universe as a product of natural laws interwoven with inherent unpredictability. Statistical trends underscore this view's rise. Recent data shows 29% of U.S. adults identify as religiously unaffiliated, a figure climbing to 70% in nations like Sweden, where secularism flourishes. This shift is driven by science's ability to unravel mysteries once attributed to supernatural forces. For example, lightning, once interpreted as divine fury, is now understood as an electrical discharge between clouds and earth. Such explanations eliminate the need for a deity, rendering belief in one akin to outdated myths about spirits or sorcery. Rational skeptics harbor no hostility toward religion. They simply find it unnecessary, as empirical evidence suffices to explain reality. For them, the universe's vastness and complexity provide meaning without requiring a spiritual void to fill, emphasizing a life grounded in observable truth. The disenchanted former believer takes a more nuanced stance, not outright denying a deity, but questioning its relevance or competence. These atheists observe a world rife with turmoil, wars, famines, ecological crises, and systemic inequities, and argue that such chaos contradicts the notion of an omnipotent, benevolent creator actively governing existence. If a deity exists, they reason, it is either powerless to mitigate suffering or indifferent, neither of which warrants worship. This perspective echoes an ancient philosophical challenge posed by Epicurus. If a deity can prevent evil but chooses not to, is it malevolent? If it cannot, is it truly divine? If it is both capable and willing, why does evil persist? These questions, largely unanswered by theistic doctrines, resonate deeply with those raised in faith. Many disenchanted former believers once embraced religion, but as they matured, the contradictions became undeniable. They saw suffering rationalized rather than resolved, miracles relegated to ancient narratives, and obedience prized over inquiry. Their atheism emerges not from anger, but from weariness with justifications that fail to align with observed reality, marking a shift from faith to skepticism, born of disillusionment. The defiant ethicist presents a bolder, more confrontational approach. These atheists do not merely doubt a deity's existence, they actively oppose the concept as morally problematic. If a divine being appeared, they would not submit but resist, some even expressing a willingness to challenge such an entity outright. This stance, though provocative, is grounded in a critical examination of history and ethics. They point to religion's complicity in oppression, churches sanctioning persecution, mosques suppressing dissent, temples reinforcing rigid social hierarchies like caste systems. For them, the idea of a deity, particularly one demanding absolute allegiance or enacting harsh judgments, is not just improbable, but ethically repugnant. They critique scriptures that depict divine commands for violence, eternal punishment, or sacrificial rituals, arguing that such a being resembles a tyrant rather than a benevolent creator. This atheism is not passive skepticism, but a principled rebellion, rejecting not only the existence of a deity, but the moral framework it represents. It questions whether such a being, if real, would even be worthy of reverence, prioritizing ethical integrity over blind faith. The autonomous visionary offers the most introspective perspective, dismissing the search for a deity as irrelevant because they locate divinity within human consciousness. They argue that attributes ascribed to gods, wisdom, compassion, creativity, are projections of human ideals, externalized and worshipped. Drawing on philosophical insights, they see no need for a celestial authority when humans can embody these values themselves. This atheism rejects religious debates over trivialities, ritual protocols, dietary restrictions, or prayer orientations as distractions from life's core purpose, creating meaning through action. Autonomous visionaries embrace responsibility for shaping their own ethics and purpose, asserting that without a divine overseer, humanity must forge its own path. This approach is not egotistical but empowering, emphasizing accountability to improve the world through reason and empathy rather than awaiting supernatural intervention. It redefines atheism as a mature acceptance of human agency, where individuals become the architects of their own significance. These four types, rational skeptic, disenchanted former believer, defiant ethicist, and autonomous visionary, illustrate atheism's diversity, each reflecting a distinct mode of engaging with existence. The rational skeptic finds meaning in empirical reality. The disenchanted former believer abandons faith due to its inconsistencies. The defiant ethicist rejects the moral underpinnings of theism, and the autonomous visionary locates purpose within humanity. What unites them is not a claim to absolute certainty, but a commitment to intellectual honesty, a readiness to admit that childhood narratives no longer suffice in a complex world. This candor is rare, particularly in societies where religion holds significant sway, and questioning can lead to social exclusion, familial rejection, or even violence. Atheism is often misunderstood as mere negation, but it is far more. A liberation from illusions, a prioritization of evidence over dogma, and an embrace of doubt as a catalyst for growth. Religion provides comfort, community, and tradition, but atheism offers freedom, the autonomy to craft one's own beliefs, morality, and purpose. This transition from faith to skepticism can be daunting, as it involves shedding not just rituals but an entire worldview. Yet it is also empowering, revealing the extent to which life belongs to the individual, unbound by celestial oversight. The rise of atheism reflects broader cultural shifts. Scientific advancements have dismantled supernatural explanations, replacing them with testable models. Social changes, including greater access to information and diverse perspectives, have emboldened individuals to question inherited beliefs. Yet atheism's growth is not without resistance. In many regions, religious institutions wield political and cultural power, framing dissent as moral failure or social betrayal. Apostasy can lead to severe consequences, disownment, harassment, or legal penalties in some societies, highlighting the courage required to embrace atheistic thought. Each type of atheism responds to this tension differently. Rational skeptics leverage science to affirm their stance, finding solace in the universe's predictability. Disenchanted former believers grapple with the emotional weight of abandoning faith, seeking clarity amid disillusionment. Defiant ethicists channel their critique into activism, challenging systems that perpetuate harm in the name of divinity. Autonomous visionaries redirect their focus inward, building meaning from human potential. Together, they form a dynamic conversation, not a static doctrine, inviting reflection on what it means to live authentically in a world that often resists scrutiny. This conversation matters because it challenges the status quo, encouraging individuals to question not just religion, but all unexamined assumptions. It asks, why cling to beliefs that falter under scrutiny? What ethics could emerge from reason rather than ancient texts? What communities could flourish if built on shared humanity rather than divine mandates? Atheism, in its many forms, is not about proving others wrong, but about fostering better questions. Questions that lead to a world rooted in truth, compassion, and intellectual freedom. Whether one identifies as a skeptic, a disillusioned seeker, a rebel, or a visionary, the journey of atheism is an invitation to define oneself, to embrace uncertainty, and to create meaning in a universe that is ours to shape.